We're joined here today now by Padraig Nicholson, one of the heroes of the 75 team that played the mighty AC Milan here for the launch of the Lisseywollen to San Siro and back fundraiser. You're very welcome, Padraig. Thanks very much for coming on down.
Thanks very much, Eamon. It's an absolute pleasure to be here, and brings back great memories for me, you know. And I was talking to Michael O'Connor, rang me yesterday and just asked me. He said, "Would you like to come down?" I said, "Michael, it'd be an absolute honour to come down." I said, "You know, because." All my years with Athlone Town, I said, obviously the highlight was, you know, the game against AC Milan. It was such a prestigious international game against, I mean, AC Milan at that time. Well, they're still a great club. AC Milan are still a great, but at that time they were the Barcelona of football. They were one of the top teams in the world, and for us to be drawn against them in the European Cup, as it was known then, was just an incredible achievement.
It was a great. I mean, but you also had to beat Vålerenga in the first round before you got to AC Milan.
We did, yeah. We beat Vålerenga, and they were a good side, a Norwegian team. They were top of the Norwegian League. Beat them at home, beat them away, and gave us great confidence, you know. But obviously, I remember I was on my way to work in Chadwick's of a morning, and I just this guy stopped me and he said, "See who you've got in the next round." And I said, "Who is it?" You know, and I was sort of nice and relaxed walking to work, and he said, "AC Milan." And I just stood there for about 10 seconds. I just couldn't believe it, because they were one of the top teams in the world at the time. Maldini,
Albertosi in goal.
They had so many absolutely world-class players.
Well, not alone could you not believe it. I think all us people in Athlone and all us fans. I mean, I think I was 12 at the time, and we couldn't believe it that AC Milan were going to be coming to Athlone. It was great excitement all around the town. I was obviously in the squad of players. There was great excitement.
It was just that night.
The lead up to it.
I remember that night. Later on that day, I met John Minnick, and he was just overcome, you know. And he was one of our best players. He couldn't believe it. It was just. But I'll tell you, Eamon, it was brilliant for the club. It was brilliant for the people behind the scenes, the committee, the people who had worked so hard. You know, I know the club have had a few bumps in the road. The present club, you know, trying to get everything going. But we were the same. It was hard work. For years, we were down there at the bottom of the first division, as it was then. We were never in the top half. We were always near the bottom, and then. We started to improve. I remember Jackie Quinn came in as our manager, done a very good job as manager. We got into the top half of the table. The following season then, Jackie went, and before he came in, things took off then, started to really improve.
Yeah. Of course, then the fateful day came when AC Milan arrived in town, and there's that famous photograph of the lads getting off the bus in their cashmere coats and their leather shoes, and they weren't impressed. I don't think with St. Wells.
I mean, you're absolutely right. I mean, I have a story of it, and I remember I was walking down to training one day. I was on my own, just walking down with a bag in my hand and my boots in the bag, and Muscles, or Seamus O'Brien, Muscles as we call them, but he's Seamus O'Brien, our chairman, stopped the car, and he said, "Where are you going?" I said, "I'm on my way down to train," because we trained at the back of St. Mel's Park, you know. So he opened the door and got in the back seat. There was a guy in the front seat, and obviously I knew it was something. AC Milan had arrived, and this guy was dressed in a beautiful suit, lightweight suit, a beautiful suit. So anyway, we got to Mel's Park. Seamus got out of the car, was introducing him to the pitch, showing him the pitch. I was still stood there. I was ready to go into the dressing room, but I was stood there for a few minutes. And he turned around to Seamus and he said, I'm not that happy with the training ground," he said. He thought it was our training ground. He was coming down, you know, so that was just a sign of the times.
Yeah, then obviously they came from a much richer club than what we were.
You can imagine. You know.
The fateful day arrived, of course, and the teams took to the pitch. You weren't included in the match day squad.
No, I wasn't, and I was a little bit. I tell you, I was a little bit down in the dumps. I hadn't missed a game for years with Athlone Town. The previous season, we finished runners up in the league. We made a massive breakthrough to do that from a team that had been struggling for years. I hadn't missed a game. Had been doing well for seasons, doing well. Never expected it. And before the manager got a new left back in, I didn't realise that Kevin Smith, now as it turned out, he was a very, very good player. But it hit me hard, Eamon, you know, and but I carried on. You know, that's just football.
You were the normal penalty taker, if I take it at the time. So if you had been on the pitch, the duty would have fallen to you.
That's right, Eamon. I didn't miss a penalty for. I went years with it. I never missed a penalty, and I was, and it was, it would have been, but, these things happen.
You would have fancied yourself against Albert Dozy.
Absolutely. I was just, but it was just an incredible experience.
I was there. I was only 12 at the time, and it was behind the goal that the penalty was taken into. And it was a fantastic occasion. There was nothing like, I think, 10,000 people or something down in St. Miles, crammed in.
And the work that had been done all summer, getting the sides of the goal and the back of the goal, we all came in as volunteers. Even though we were players, myself and John and all the rest of the lads, we all came in and helped out, to make the place better, because St. Miles was really in a poor shape even at the time, and so it was a fantastic occasion. But I'd have to say, Athlone were absolutely brilliant on the day. We were the better team. We were the better team on the day, and very unlucky not to win that day, maybe by a goal or two. I felt we were the better team, and it just shows you what a good team we were.
Yeah, I know we didn't win the game, but it was a 0-0 draw. But that's a fantastic result against a giant the size of AC Milan from an amateur team in the middle of Ireland.
Yeah, well, absolutely. When I look at the AC Milan team at the time, Romeo Benetti in midfield, he was on the Italian team. He was the midfield. Albertosi in goal, the Italian keeper. Ferreira, the number 10. He was one of the best players in the world. They were. Half the AC Milan team was on the Italian team, and they had reached the 1970 World Cup. Brazil beat them in the final, so a lot of their players were playing. So that's the calibre of the players we were playing against.
And then the second leg came along. You made an appearance in the second.
I came on with 20 minutes to go. It was just unbelievable. 80,000 people there. San Siro. Me playing on pitches. Poor pitches all my life, same as most of the rest of the lads, and to arrive at this, it was a fairy tale. It was just unbelievable, and
you came on for Pooch Davis, I think.
I did, and he brought me on.
We were 2-0 down at the time.
2-0 down at the time, that's right. But I'll tell you, even in that game, we played very well. We played really well in that game. It was 0-0 late in the game, and really, it was the size of it. It was a pitch like this. It was a massive pitch, the San Siro, and we just ran out of legs. They had the extra fitness and scored 3 late goals.
I remember sitting at home that night. Obviously, I couldn't travel, but I remember sitting at home, and my father brought the old valve radio that we had. He brought it into the living room, and I was sat in the middle of the table, and we were all sitting around it listening to the commentary coming from Milan. I'm sure that was repeated all the way across the town. Everybody was tuned in.
Absolutely. I remember where I live now, and I'd come out of my house of a morning, and I'd walk up the street as if I was walking up to the centre of the town, up to Church Street. It'd take an hour getting up to town. People would be stopping, chatting about game, chatting about, But Athlone was a vibrant town then. The football was terrific. The people were behind the team. There was people. It wasn't just people from Athlone going to games. People were coming from everywhere. From Mullingar, from Clara, from Ballinasloe, Galway. It was just it was a dream come true.
Final result, of course, was 3-0, which after over the space of 2 games is nothing to be ashamed of.
Absolutely not. AC Milan had beaten Everton in a previous round. So that was the calibre of them. They were one of the fancy teams to go on and win the European Cup. So it was
brilliant. And of course, this current fundraiser that we're doing is to remember the AC Milan adventure, shall we call it, in that we're asking people to walk 4,000 kilometres, which is the distance to Milan and back. As you've seen here this morning, we've had some of the lads here this morning, and they're all heading off now on runs and walks and cycles and all that, putting up the kilometres. And we're hoping that people will fundraise to improve the facility. As you know yourself here, you can see it. You've been down here. The pitch is fantastic. The stand is fantastic.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely brilliant to see the structures they're putting in place here, and bringing girls in now, and giving the girls an identity. And I'm sure in the next year or two we'll have some girls who'll play internationally for our country as well. And there's a strategy. There's a plan here. I have to say, when I played for Athlone, and even when I stopped playing for Athlone, I got in very, very, very involved in schoolboy football and youth football with Athlone. I never, on reflection now, when I look back, I never really felt we had a real plan. you know, we just, now they seem to have a plan here. They're, you know, they have an under 13, under 15, two under 15s, two under 16 teams, under 17, under 19. Now they have two girls teams. You have the facilities here, beautiful for training. They're doing up the area over there as well. So there's a long-term plan here for the future, and it involves local people. So it's absolutely brilliant what's happening here, and the funding, and it's to build more dressing rooms, because as more and more people come down, and more young players will want to come here, want to see this.
Padraig, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you here this morning. And you brought a lot of pleasure to myself and thousands upon thousands of people over the years when you were playing with the club as well. So thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Eamon.
Shake hands, Padraig.
Oh yeah, that's right.